My great-grandfather split up his property among all his kids when he retired. When he did this, it was way outside the city limits. My grandmother only had one child, my dad, and I am her only grandchild. My dad gave me the land, my piece is the biggest. We are also close enough now for city water and power. Some of the land has been sold to developers. My uncle subdivided his portion into acreages. He kept one and gave each of his kids a plot. My cousin has spent 10 years building his dream home. It is up the hill from my cabin. I bought an old one-room schoolhouse and moved it onto my land. I love it. I will retire there someday. But it needs work. My cousin has been bugging me to clear some of my woodlot. It blocks his view of the valley. He chose that lot. I don't know why he would pick a location with an obstructed view. My wife and I live and work in the city. We only go out to the cabin a few times a year. My cousin lives in his home. He and his kids constantly throw parties there. We go if we are out at the cabin, but mostly we like having the privacy of the woodlot between us. My cousin didn't. He chopped down 10 of the tallest trees between our properties. All of them were on my side of the fence. The missing trees were the first thing I saw when I got out there. I immediately checked my trail cameras. I had a video of him and his sons doing it. I went over and asked him, what the f? He said the trees were diseased and he did me a favor. I told him I wanted to look at the wood. The trunks were gone and he only had a bunch of branches. I called a tree guy from the university to come look at the stumps, and he told me the trees were fine and that tree theft is a big deal. I told my cousin that he had to do something or I would go to the cops. He said to go ahead. So I did. I also called a lawyer who specializes in tree law. I didn't even know that was a thing. Each tree was worth $50,000. My cousin has gone crazy since he was served. The cops tracked down the trunks. They actually used DNA to identify my logs. The company that bought them agreed to give me the money from the trees and testify against him if I didn't charge them. My uncle and my dad came to talk to me. My cousin doesn't have the money. He would have to sell his house. And if he gets a criminal conviction, it will affect his job. We came to an agreement. My uncle gave me one of his undeveloped lots and some money. I dropped the charges against my cousin. My family is divided. On the one hand, he stole my property. On the other, I took money from my uncle in return for not making my cousin homeless. We planted new trees, but they will take a long time to make up for the old ones. My cousins are furious that I took money that was part of their inheritance, but they are madder at their fool brother than they are at me. My dad said that I shouldn't have involved the law in a family dispute. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. He messed around with someone else's property and found out. He's just lucky he was bailed out. And your dad is wrong. Your cousin not providing food to Thanksgiving family gatherings is a family issue. Stealing and selling someone else's property is a legal and criminal issue. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your cousin did something he knew you had said no to and then lied about it. You did the right thing. His father should take what he had to pay for his screw-up out of his share of the inheritance. He needs to pay for what he did one way or another and not have daddy pay. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around. So the dust had barely settled from the tree fiasco when my cousin, the same one who chopped down my trees, decided to throw the mother of all parties. It was like he was trying to rub salt in the wound. The noise was so loud I could hear it from my cabin, and the lights from the hilltop were like a beacon of defiance. I was fuming, but I tried to keep my cool. I had to remind myself that I was the bigger person here, having let him off the hook with the law. But then, the next morning, I found out he'd done something that made my blood boil. He'd driven his ATV through my property, tearing up the ground where we just planted the new saplings. It was like he was declaring war. I had enough. I went up there ready to confront him, but what I found was worse than I expected. He was bragging to his friends about how he'd gotten away with the tree cutting and how he'd shown me who was boss by ruining the new plantings. I didn't say a word. I just turned around, went back to my cabin and called my lawyer. I told him I wanted to press charges for the damage to the saplings. My lawyer was hesitant, warning me that this would tear the family apart even more. But I was past caring. I felt betrayed by my own blood. The lawyer got to work, and soon enough, my cousin was served again. This time, he didn't have the smug look on his face. He knew he'd pushed me too far. My uncle tried to intervene again, but I was done making deals. I wanted to see this through, to make sure my cousin learned his lesson the hard way. Meanwhile, my wife was getting fed up with the whole situation. She didn't sign up for a family feud, and the stress was starting to affect our marriage. She told me she wanted peace, even if it meant letting my cousin off again. I was torn between my anger and my love for her. The court date was set, and the tension in the family was at an all-time high. My dad wouldn't even look at me, and my uncle was trying to play problem solver. but I could tell his heart wasn't in it. He was disappointed in his son, and I could see the strain it was putting on him. On the day of the hearing, my cousin came up to me, his eyes red, and for the first time, I saw a glimmer of remorse. He told me he was sorry, that he'd been an idiot, and he didn't want to lose his home or his job. He begged me to reconsider, offering to do anything to make it right. I was ready to dismiss his plea, but then I looked over at my wife. She was watching me, and I knew what she wanted. It was a test of my loyalty, to her, and to what was left of my family. In that moment, I made my decision. I told the judge I wanted to drop the charges, but I wanted a written apology from my cousin and for him to personally replant the saplings he destroyed. The judge agreed, and my cousin nodded, relieved. It wasn't the outcome I had wanted, but I could see the relief in my family's eyes. My wife squeezed my hand, and I knew I'd made the right choice for us. After the hearing, my cousin kept his word. He replanted the saplings, and he gave me the written apology. It was awkward, and the air was thick with unspoken words, but there was a sense of closure. My wife was happy, and that was worth more to me than winning the feud. But karma has a funny way of coming around. A few weeks later, my cousin's house was up for sale. Turns out the partying and the legal fees had caught up with him, and he couldn't afford to keep it anymore. He moved into a smaller place down the valley, and I heard through the grapevine that he'd sobered up and was trying to get his life back on track. As for me, I got my peace and quiet back. The saplings are growing, and my wife and I are stronger than ever. I learned that sometimes walking away from a fight is the hardest and bravest thing you can do, and sometimes it's the only way to win. Thanks for reading. My brother always misses my big moments because of his wife's excuses. So when his life fell apart, I told him it's karma for ignoring me. I, 17-year-old male, literally just turned 17 on March 1st. I had my birthday dinner that Saturday, which was the 2nd. I was expecting my whole family to come, but instead my 25-year-old brother called to cancel and let me know that he couldn't come because his wife, who is also 25, had a migraine. I was upset, but I expected it. This happens often whenever I have something special to me. For example, at my 8th grade graduation, my brother had to miss it because his wife was too tired from work. At my 9th grade award ceremony, my brother had to miss it because she was sick with the flu or something. On my 15th birthday party, I really do not remember the excuse. At my 10th grade award ceremony, my brother had to miss it because they had a wedding to go to. On my 16th birthday party, my brother had to miss it because his sister was in the hospital. And now on my 17th birthday party, my brother had to miss it because she had a migraine. I can't really blame her for this, I guess. Those are valid excuses, but it just sucks that they all happen around the time of my birthday or something that I'd want my family to come to. I don't even mind if she doesn't come, I just like my brother to come. I'm just happy that my other family members do come and support me, which I love. On Wednesday, my brother came by and gave me some money and a birthday card. He apologized for missing my birthday again and asked me if he could take me out to eat to apologize again for missing my birthday party. I'm not gonna lie, if this was a one-time occurrence, I would have taken him up on the offer like I did the first and second time he missed my birthday. But this time, I wasn't really feeling it. And I just told my brother that I appreciate his gift, but I was all right. He took it well, as I thought. But apparently he was hurt by me turning down the offer because my other brother, 21-year-old male, and my dad came to me and asked me why I didn't want to go out with my brother this Saturday because he was hurt that I rejected his offer. I told them that he didn't seem hurt when I rejected it, but they told me that he was and felt really bad about missing my birthday. I told them that it's really not that big of a deal, and I'm not mad about it. I said that he already got me something and I was happy with it. Cut to today, he called me again and asked me if I was sure if I didn't want to go out to eat today, and I told him I was sure. This time, I could really tell in his tone of voice that he was actually sad about it. My dad told me that he wants me to go out to eat with him tomorrow so he doesn't feel bad. I told him that he does this every year, and I'm just used to it. I said that I'll be surprised if he even came to my graduation. My dad then told me that he feels like I'm doing this to be petty and only trying to make my brother feel more guilty. My family is making me feel like I'm in the wrong for rejecting his offer, and I'm so confused. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. The first time it stinks, but it's understandable. The second is an unlucky coincidence. The third time, it's a pattern. What did your family expect? Of course, you will get used to it and think nothing of it when it keeps happening. Side note though, I would definitely talk to him about it when you can. It's important he knows that you didn't mean to hurt his feelings, but that it is always hurting yours. Does your sister-in-law have any issues with you or anyone else in the family? She is clearly the issue since all these problems just happen to occur whenever you have something important going on. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You may want to rethink it and have a dinner with just you and him so you can let him know you're tired of sitting in the second chair because of his wife throwing a wrench in things. From your examples, it's not your brother as much as it's his wife interjecting herself and your brother willingly allowing her to do so. He has to prioritize your relationship instead of coming up with excuses. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around for an update. So where do I even start? After the whole birthday dinner fiasco with my brother, things took a wild turn. My brother's wife, the one with the migraines and all, turns out she's been lying. Not just about the migraines, but about a lot of things. She's been cheating on my brother, and guess with who? My cousin. Yeah, the one who's always been the perfect family member. When my brother found out, it was like a bomb went off in the family. He was devastated, and so was everyone else. My parents were furious. My other brother was in shock, and I was just there, caught in the middle of it all. My brother moved back in with us for a while, and the house was just filled with this heavy, awkward silence. No one knew what to say or do. It was like we were all walking on a tightrope, trying not to make things worse. But then, as if that wasn't enough, my other brother, the 21-year-old, got into some serious trouble. He got caught up in a hit and run. He wasn't driving, but he was in the car and didn't report it. The guilt ate him up until he finally confessed to the police. The family was in the spotlight again, and not in a good way. My parents were dealing with one son's divorce and the other's legal issues. It was a mess. Amidst all this, my brother's wife had the nerve to show up at our house begging for forgiveness, crying about how she made a mistake and how she still loved my brother. But the damage was done. My brother wouldn't even look at her. I felt a mix of anger and pity for her. She had caused so much pain, yet there she was, broken and alone. The aftermath was rough. My brother's divorce was messy, with her trying to take everything from him. My other brother was doing community service and attending court-ordered therapy. And me? I was just trying to keep my head down and get through my last year of high school. But life has a funny way of not letting you catch a break. Just when things started to settle down, my dad lost his job. The company he worked for went under, and just like that, we were in financial trouble. My mom started working double shifts, and I picked up a part-time job after school. We were all pulling our weight to keep the family afloat. Through all this, my brother kept trying to make amends with me. He'd show up at my job with lunch, or he'd offer to help me with homework. I knew he was trying to make up for all the missed events, but I couldn't shake off the resentment. It felt like too little, too late. Yet I couldn't bring myself to push him away completely. He was still my brother after all. And now, here we are, 3 months later. My brother's divorce is finalized, and he's slowly rebuilding his life. My other brother is still dealing with the repercussions of his actions, but he's getting better. My dad found a new job, and things are starting to look up financially. As for me, I'm still here, in the same house, with the same family drama. I know I should probably get out, find my own path, but it's not that easy. This is my family, and despite everything, I can't help but hope things will get better. Maybe I'm naive, or maybe I just believe in second chances. Either way, I'm sticking it out, for better or worse. Thanks for reading. My sister's husband tried to turn the family against me over a baby name. So I exposed his manipulation and watched as she kicked him out and took control of her life. My sister gave birth to my nephew in January, and she gave him a name that I dislike, which is Philip. The two of us have always been very close, and we always swore we would be honest with each other when asked. That has always been our relationship. We feel it keeps us close and prevents hard feelings, because if we don't want to hear something, we just don't ask. There has never been a time when I didn't want her honesty, so I will ask her anything looking for an honest answer. My sister is a little more sensitive, which is nothing wrong with that, but I understand if she doesn't ask everything if she feels like it would hurt her feelings. She asked me what I thought of the name because I was the only one who didn't comment about loving the name up, according to her. And I'm not saying every single person she meets compliments the name, just that those in her and her husband's circle did. So 2/3 weeks after my nephew was born, she asked me if I didn't like his name. She said my reaction was very muted and it made her wonder. So I was honest and told her I didn't like the name, but reassured her I love my nephew very much. She asked some more questions that I answered honestly, and I was even open about names I would use for my future child when asked. My sister made a joke that it was weird to find a topic we were so opposite on, our taste in names, but she was glad we had talked. I didn't think anything more of it, and then a week and a half ago, my sister's husband made a sarcastic remark that he was surprised I would spend money on such a nice gift for my nephew. I ordered a custom blanket for him that has his name on it when I don't even like the name. My sister told him to stop and apologized to me for his reaction. He grumbled and she grumbled back at him. Then he got me alone and told me I had made my sister cry when I told her I disliked my nephew's name. He asked me how I would like it if she said that to me, And I told him I would expect her to be honest if she did dislike the name I picked for my future kids, and I asked her the question. I said we don't lie to each other, and it's been that way since we were kids. He said he had no idea what kind of name I would like if I disliked Philip, and if I disliked the middle name too, but it takes a special kind of shitty person to tell a new parent they dislike the name they chose for their kid. And he said I broke my sister's heart, which should make me so ashamed. I spoke to my sister after that and apologized for upsetting her. She wanted to know where I learned it, but answered herself before she finished the question. She apologized to me and admitted she was upset, but that she should have known better than to ask the question, that I didn't go out of my way to give feedback on the name, and she knows herself better than that. She apologized for her husband again and told me not to listen. But then her husband reached out again and told me my sister is trying to spare my feelings. So am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. No idiots here. Important point I'd like to bring across. It's okay to be upset by something someone has said. It's okay to cry. And then you deal with the disappointment and continue your life. Looks like your sister did that, but her husband isn't. Your sister needs to accept, if she hasn't already, that not everyone loves the name. And that's okay. You've shown you love your nephew and you've accepted the name, not that you need to, by giving that blanket. I really don't see a problem, except brother-in-law needs to get over it himself. Brother-in-law needs to accept that sometimes stuff happens that upsets his wife. It's his job to comfort her and help her deal with it, preferably without blaming others. Comment 2. Not the idiot, your sister even said it herself. She shouldn't have asked if she didn't want the truth, as that's the relationship you have. You are making an effort to embrace the name, and you've apologized for any hurt feelings. Her husband is being a major AH at this point, especially for going behind his wife's back multiple times to attack you. My bet is it was his name suggestion and he's personally hurt in attacking you for it. If he tries to bring it up again, I would immediately shut him down and say you're not continuing this conversation with him. And if your sister has an issue, she can bring it up herself. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. So things have been pretty busy since then. After the whole name drama, I thought we'd move past it. But no, my sister's husband, let's call him Mr. Sensitive, decided to stir the pot again. He went behind my sister's back and started a group chat with our family, basically saying I was disrespecting their choice and how I should apologize to everyone for creating tension. I mean, come on, it was a private conversation between me and my sister. My mom got involved, and she's always had a soft spot for Mr. Sensitive. She called me, her voice all shaky, saying I should just apologize to keep the peace. I was fuming but kept it cool on the phone. I told her I'd think about it. But inside I was like, why should I apologize for being honest when asked? Then out of nowhere, my cousin, who's always been a bit of a gossip, leaked screenshots of the group chat online. It blew up. Friends, distant relatives, and even some random people were weighing in on the drama. My sister was mortified, and Mr. Sensitive suddenly played the victim, saying he was just trying to protect his family. But here's where it gets even crazier. My sister, bless her heart, decided to host a family dinner to clear the air. It was tense. You could cut the awkwardness with a knife. Halfway through, Mr. Sensitive got up and announced that they were considering changing Philip's middle name because of all the feedback. My sister looked like she was about to cry, and I felt a pang of guilt, even though I hadn't said a word about the middle name. The dinner ended with my aunt, who's never liked Mr. Sensitive, calling him out for being manipulative and causing unnecessary drama. She pointed out how he'd been walking all over me, and I never stood up for myself. It was like she was voicing all the things I'd been feeling, but never had the guts to say out loud. After everyone left, my sister and I had a heart-to-heart. She admitted she felt trapped between her husband and her family. I told her I'd support whatever decision they made about the name, but I couldn't keep being the punching bag for Mr. Sensitive's insecurities. The next day, my sister announced they were keeping the name as is, and Mr. Sensitive posted a public apology for overreacting and dragging the family into it. It seemed like things were finally settling down. But then my sister found out Mr. Sensitive had been talking to his ex, complaining about our family and seeking comfort. She was devastated. It was like one soap opera twist after another. My sister kicked him out, and now they're talking about separation. It's been a mess, but through all this, I've realized I need to stop letting people walk all over me, even if it's family. I've started setting boundaries, and honestly, it feels like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.